It's really important to test for STIs because a lot of the time people don't know that they have one. Chlamydia, for example, doesn't show any symptoms in up to 75% of people, and even when people do have symptoms, they may be so minor that they don't actually consider that it might be an STI. And then something like syphilis or HIV, which might have an initial mild set of symptoms, can then go undetected for very many years. So testing every 3 months for people who are more at risk, so people under 30, people who are having more than one partner, people who are not using condoms regularly, is definitely advised.
So a good way to offer an STI test to someone of the same gender is, as it is with someone of the opposite gender, is just to make it a really normal part of the conversation.
I'll have a look at your knee for you. If you need to see the doctor, we can organise that, but I just wanted to check with you while we wait, because sometimes it can be a while before you see the doctor. If you wanted to do a piss test while you're here, just make sure you're healthy. Yeah, I know it's a bit awkward. I know it's more better if we got a fella here who can see you, but there's no health workers at the moment, and our male nurse is on holidays and the doctor's a lady as well, okay? So I'm really sorry that we don't have a male to see you today, but the good thing is I don't have to look at anything or see anything, okay? So I know it's a bit shame, but it's really quick and easy, okay?
Asking them if they have any questions about those infections. You know, would you like to know anything more about this? Do you understand that if we look for them, we may find them, and then we may have to give you some treatment for it?
It's really important to have a conversation about what you're testing for, explain that it is either a swab or a blood test and exactly what you're testing for.
That's no worries. Look, it happens a lot, okay? It's nothing to be embarrassed about. If you have sex, depending on where you go, you're going to catch germs sometimes. The good news is most of the things you catch, they're really easy to get rid of, okay? So some tablets or some needles and you can be healthy again, okay? It's really important that you consider using condoms in the future, because then you can go with a lot of people and you don't catch sickness as easy, okay?
Sometimes a doctor might say, oh, we've got your wee here, let's test it for other germs while it's there. And that language really is not encouraging informed consent, and germs is a word that it's a really nice simple word, but I think you need to mention sexually transmitted. That's really important, so people have the opportunity to think about whether they want that, whether they're ready for an answer that might come back.
Do you know much about the kind of germs we test for? No? Did you want me to give you a bit of information and some pictures about what we look for and how you might know if you've got some sickness? You're not sure? Okay, I'll just get some of the pictures up, because it's a lot easier if you have these to look at. It makes a lot more sense, okay? So I'll just get you to have a look at some of these. It's a really big problem in the communities where we are, as you can see, and where you're from as well.
It's really important to have a conversation about what you're testing for, explain that it is either a swab or a blood test and exactly what you're testing for, explaining to them what will happen if the result is positive, how treatment will be provided, and who will need to be notified of a positive test result, such as recent partners, but also the local communicable diseases branch. Making sure they know how they're going to get a positive result is also really important.
Okay, so here are your tablets, Nelson. I'll get you to take these in a minute, okay? And I'll just run through with you and let you know what we need to do from here, alright? So your results will be back in a week, alright? And we'll know better then if you need any other kinds of medications or anything, okay? It's really important that you don't have sex for the next week or so.
I would explain why I'm offering the test, so I might say something like young people under 30 are particularly at risk of chlamydia. I would explain to them how we would do the test and that it wouldn't involve an examination, and that they could take a swab or a urine pot to the toilet next door and do the test like that.
You just take this, you can hide it in your pocket, okay? You just take it straight to the toilet and open it up. Just do first part piss, don't piss in the toilet, straight in the cup, maybe halfway, and then just put the lid on, back in your pocket, and you bring it in here, okay? You think you can manage that? Yeah, well done, all right. Okay, I'll give you this now, and I'll take you through, we'll show you where you gotta go, okay?
Taking the time and the space to slow that consult down and really make sure that your client is okay with this testing today.
So we don't recommend routinely testing people for what we call a test of cure for STIs unless there's a specific reason to do so, such as someone who's pregnant. So it's a really good idea when you talk to them about the initial test, say we'd like you to come back in 3 months for another test to make sure that you haven't picked anything up since your most recent test, and having a recall system in place.
Some people just catch a urine, but if the urine comes back positive, you can't just give people tablets ever. You've got to make sure that you can take the bloods.
So that retesting is of utmost importance, and really in parallel with partner notification.